And I am Shea Mackin with the National Coalition for Public School Options.
And today is Monday, August 24th. I can't believe we're almost over with, August and schools reopening, hurricanes in the Gulf. What else is going on?
Zoom going crazy. Yes.
Zoom. I think the hurricanes are talking to Zoom because I know there was a lot going on this morning. I don't know if everybody felt it through Zoom, and I feel bad for students in schools because, the Zoom wasn't working this morning.
I know. And especially if it was their first day.
I know.
They thought maybe they were doing something wrong or, what's going on. And the teachers, I felt pretty bad this morning for people.
I know it is really crazy right now, especially in Houston, because we're actually watching two hurricanes, Marco and Laura. I think Laura is the one we're really concerned about because it may hit us later on this week. But, I think this puts a test on a lot of things, not only in the city, but on schools.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, we will see how this, kind of distance learning happens with the hurricane and all, or two hurricanes.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Especially in Houston, we get all these kind of natural disasters from flooding to hurricanes, tornadoes, you name it. We've had them, but, when it comes to education, I think, they're really getting a pounding, one from the COVID cooties and now the hurricane. So
right now, so for full-time virtual public schools that have been around, for 20 years in some states and over 10 in the state of Texas, we've encountered hurricanes. The nice thing about the full-time virtual schools, even back, with the past hurricanes and huge storms where other schools had to close for quite a while, or even schools were flooded and destroyed. Those students across the state were able to continue schooling. And if they lived down and they were evacuated, they could continue school in their hotel room or, at grandma's house, or they had to go to a different state until things got better, so that's kind of the exciting thing is that with technology, we can continue to school. So I think that they'll probably see less of a hiccup where they can continue to school because they don't have to, drive in the flooding waters or
they don't have to go anywhere, or if they get displaced and they got to go to a hotel, guess what? They can still do schoolwork in a hotel room.
Right. Yeah. So I think those are some bonuses, at least about doing distance learning and full-time virtual school. So a few weeks ago, Wendy, I heard about a school that I hadn't heard about in Austin before. Being in Austin, I had not heard about this charter school. It's called International Leadership of Texas School.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have one in Austin, but you said you had heard of them.
Yeah, they're local here in Houston with quite a few campuses. And I got the privilege to I was introduced to them by parents. It was parents that were telling me about this public charter school here in Houston and how, they're supporting their kids and how, and what also they're offering for their kids. And I was so excited to hear about them. And I know they've been around for since quite a while.
Yeah, so 2007, I believe, because once I heard about some new offerings with this school, they have 15 schools up in Dallas and then 5 in the Houston area. But they're offering something new, being a virtual school that's statewide. And so that's why I hadn't heard about it, because now as an Austonian or anywhere in the state.
Anywhere in the state of Texas, from the Rio Grande Valley to Dallas, they had some in Dallas, but even San Antonio, Austin, Midland,
anywhere. A little tiny town that has no charters.
Or no choice.
And no option other than the school down the street. Right. So I think that this is a really exciting time. Not only do we have the existing 7 full-time schools that are virtual, but now we have this new school. So I'm excited. So when I was talking to Wendy, she knew some parents who already attended this awesome school. And I went out and did research. I called I even got a hold of their superintendent and had a call with their superintendent and their communications person and find out more about the school. So I'm excited for today to learn even more about the school and these opportunities for not just Dallas and Houston area, but across the state of Texas.
That's what I'm excited to. You know, I'm excited to bring in our next guest, who I call a VIP, a very important parent. She's very engaged. She's one that I met and then also helped look for schools for her two boys. She graduated from Drexel University with a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. She has been working for Halliburton for over 10 years. But not only that, she's very involved in education. She's a board member for a local public charter school. But her most important job is she's a mother of two wonderful, handsome little boys, Ruben and Robin, one a third grader and one a first grader. So we would like to bring her on so we can learn more about her experience at International Leadership of Texas.
Welcome, Lily.
So this
Hi.
is Lily Castillo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invitation. What an honor. And thank you for the kind introduction, Wendy. The honor has been mine to have you as a friend and as a mentor through this couple of years of motherhood. It has been a challenge.
Thank you so much. I mean, you've also taught me a lot, especially being a board member of a public charter school here in Houston. I mean, you're teaching us more as I'm going out and helping parents in the Houston area. But we want to learn more about ILT. Now, I know ILT here in Houston, they're more of a brick and mortar public charter school here in Houston. Can you tell us, one is, why did you choose International Leadership of Texas for your boys?
Well, the answer was very straightforward for me 4 years ago when I joined, when my first son was in kindergarten. We didn't have that many options. We moved to an area where I pay taxes for one school district, but I'm zoned to a different school district. And the property is under an address of a different city. So it's very complicated. And I remember 4 years ago having this conversation with Wendy. I was like, well, what are the options that I have? I really wanted to make sure that the school where my kids attended was at least bilingual. I didn't want them to lose my Spanish, but I wanted them to not keep my accent. I wanted them to be explored to different cultures and to a native English accent. So when I found out about International Leadership of Texas, it gave me the option not only to have the English and Spanish that I was looking for, but also a third language, the Chinese, Mandarin. So I was like, wait, I've never heard of a public school that it's free and that the kids can be exploring different cultures, different languages, and that it was very close to my house. It was 15 minutes away. So I ended up signing in. I didn't know if we were going to be able to get a spot or not because it's a lottery, just like any other charter school. Luckily, we did. And this is actually the 4th year that we're in that school. It seems like every year the school is getting better and better, more organized with more options. When the pandemic came around in March, they were very prepared. They had computers for every student, and they had an actual curriculum to go virtual. So the kids didn't waste any time. They went straight from going into the spring break straight into virtual school. And back then they called the virtual 1.0 because it was the first time that they were doing a virtual curriculum. And then a week later, they heard from the parents, they heard from the students, and they improved it. So they had a 2.0 version. And just last week, well, actually a week and a half ago, they started with a 3.0 version, which is even a better option. So they keep improving, and it seems like a great opportunity for our students, for parents like me that are working from home, that we can supervise the kids, but not so much. They still have the teachers from 8 to 2 teaching them and helping them out. They have the teaching hours as well in case the kids have more questions. And then we can submit all the assignments at the end of the day, which is very helpful.
I know when I spoke to you last spring, you know, I was talking to a lot of parents last spring with all this COVID cooties going on, and it just disrupted, you know, our kids' education. One of the things that really caught my attention was the communication that you really talked about. Can you tell us a little bit more how the school communicated and kept in communications with their parents?
Something that I'm very impressed from Connor, the founder of the school. I think he's the one that you talked to, Shea. He started telling us from the beginning, back in March, of how he saw the forecast, that he thought that the schools were not going to open for the rest of the school year, 2019-2020. So he wanted for the parents to be aware of that, and that because the schools were not going to be opening, he wanted for everyone to be aware of the other option of doing the virtual, so that all the parents could work together with them. He started doing a lot of calls, even on the weekends, weekdays, training parents, training teachers, training students on using the platforms and how to facilitate the access of all the applications that they were purchasing, and the new Chromebooks that he was using, or that he was letting us use. The Chromebooks now with the 3.0 version are so simple, where the kids just log in and all the applications are already tied in with their username, which wasn't the case back in March. So it took a little longer of training and more cooperation, working as a team, working with parents, teachers, students, staff, and the principals. But somehow we made it work. We survived.
It did. Well, that's great. How did your boys actually, now you're talking about on the school side, I'm curious to know, how did, you know, Ruben and Robin transition from, we're going face to face, and then all of a sudden we're now doing distance learning?
So the oldest one, I don't think he felt the I guess the change as much. For them, it was a great opportunity to spend more time with my husband and I, because we were also working from home, and it was exciting for them that they were able to use their PJ pants and the polo shirt for the uniform. I mean, for them it was exciting, right? They were able to have a new teacher aide, which was me or my husband, and they would bug us with a lot of questions. And I mean, we learned to appreciate the teachers a lot more. But the little one, I think he felt it the most. He's a very social person that likes to be connected with kids. He likes that confirmation from the teachers to say, you did it right, you did it, you can improve this or that. Or for them, I remember we were asked to do an interview for the school back in, I want to say, beginning of May. So by then it was already 2 months into doing the virtual. And the kids were so excited, thinking that the teachers were going to be at the campus. And we showed up and there were no teachers. It was only the principal and the marketing department. And the youngest one, my son, started crying. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I have a feeling that we're never going to see my teachers again. And I'm going to miss them so much. And I just want the coronavirus to end so that we can go back to normal life. And he just kept crying, and I couldn't give him any words of, comfort, because I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know if by the fall we were going to be able to go in person or not. And unfortunately we didn't. So I guess every kid reacts differently to every situation. Some kids see it as an opportunity for them to really focus on their academics and do more reading and do more exploration at home, whereas other kids really affects them, that interaction and being out there with their friends, with their peers, with their teachers. And I mean, especially going back in the fall and not meeting your teacher in person, I think it's a little harsh on them. In addition to that, we had to kick our kids out of the toy room so that we could convert it into an office. So I don't think it helped them at all.
Yeah, it is so true how each of our kids are so very individual. But I give nothing but, gold stars to ILT for the way they handled it, and hearing, from parents across the state and the country that their school, whether it was, the regular traditional brick and mortar or their charter or even their private school, did not come anywhere near to where ILT was, and how prepared and how organized that they were, and communicative, and even now I'm still hearing, even today I'm hearing parents saying how they're frustrated. They've been back in school for a couple weeks and they still feel like the communication from their school is not what it should be.
Right.
But that's not what I'm hearing about ILT. And so that's why I'm so excited that more kids like your kids can have the opportunity to attend a terrific school like ILT.
Yes, absolutely. We're very blessed, very thankful for the opportunity. And I can't thank enough the teachers and the principals, the staff, everyone that is part of IL Texas, because it takes a village to raise a kid. And you can tell in moments like this where it really helps to have that support system. For example, today you were talking about Zoom not working, and we ended up getting notifications before the time of the first period. So they usually, my kids go to school at 8, and I ended up getting notifications by 7:30, 7:45 that Zoom was having an update and they were having some difficulties with people logging in and all that stuff. So they made it clear way before the class started, and they gave us assignments to go through different applications so the kids could stay busy doing something else, where those assignments are still going to be graded by the teachers, and they grade them daily. So it's not like the kids were just watching TV the whole day, which was very helpful as well.
Yeah, and again, even just today with the Zoom, I'm sure that there were probably thousands of kids across the country that were instead watching cartoons.
Yeah.
Right.
But ILT again communicated with you guys and had a plan B and had other ways for them to do it. So the
That's
more I
actually-
learn about ILT, the more I want to sing their praises from the rooftops. So
I know, it's like you got the 5-star, parent review here. I think the next question I have for you, Luli, is a lot of schools with reopening, they gave parents options of, how they want their students to come back. And it's either in person, virtual, some offer hybrid. I'm curious to know what those options that ILT offered you, and then why did you choose that option?
So there were 3 different options. For parents that were okay with their kids being in front of the computer, they have option 1, which is a virtual, the 3.0 version, where the kids go to school from 8 to 2 or 8 to 4, depending on what grade level they're at. My kids, the 3rd grader finishes by 3, the 1st grader finishes by 1. So it depends on the classes that they have, right? They have Wednesday off, but it's not really off. It's independent studying. So they do all their assignments on that day without the computer. So they can use their journal, they can do a lot of independent work, or they can do some reading and do a journal about the book that they read or whatever. The option 2, they follow the same curriculum or similar curriculum where they have different activities that they have to accomplish or finish per day, but they have until midnight and they don't have to be in front of the computer with the teachers. So that works very well for those parents that they take their kids to a daycare, or they stay with their grandparents and their grandparents are not good with computers, or they may not have internet accessible the whole day. So they have that option. It's very similar to homeschool because you're on your own pace as long as you're turning in your assignments on time. And then the last one is in person. So the in-person will be active in Houston for, I want to say September 8th. And that one, it's also the same thing that all the other, that we're hearing from the other schools. The kids are going to wear their masks the whole day. The kids are going to take their temperature before going into the building. By the way, the masks, the school provided the masks so that all the kids had the same mask with the logo of the school, so that it matches their uniform, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and I ended up going with option 1, the virtual one. Because my husband and I are working from home since March, it seems like we're gonna stay home for a little longer. We didn't see the need of having to send our kids to the campus when we already know that there's other parents who don't have any other choice and they wanna send their kids to school. So we're giving that opportunity for those parents that really need it. where in our case, I think we can handle the 2 boys at home for the time being, right? Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, I know you had posted the 2 boys on your Facebook page with their mask, and they were so cute, and that's really nice
Thank you.
for the school to actually provide a mask for all students.
Right, right. Now, in the meanwhile that the schools were closed and that they can't open because of Harry's announcement that they wanted to open until September, the school knew that some parents didn't have internet or they didn't have a place for the kids to actually take their virtual school.
Mhm.
They ended up opening their gym. So the gym is available for all those kids who don't have internet at home to go into the campus, and they have different tables along the gym. They're 6 feet apart. So the kids go in again with their masks. They have to have hand antibacterial. They
Wow.
take their temperatures and all that. But they're taking virtual classes from the gym. It's just kind of like giving a hot spot for all the kids that were in need. And they're also providing lunches, breakfast and lunches throughout the day for those kids.
That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's
I feel
awesome.
like they must have had a really good collaborative effort of a whole committee to think of so many things outside of the box.
Yeah.
Where other schools are having a hard time with even just one of those options.
One of the board,
you
right?
know,
One of their board members is a pediatrician. So
Mm.
I heard that had a lot to do with the decisions that they were making. And a lot of the teachers are international that come from China. So they knew that it was coming probably since January, which gave them a little bit more of that advantage of knowing how to react in March when other schools were barely finding out about what to do or what was about to happen.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
I told you she was a very involved parent.
Parent I like.
Knows about the board. See, that's by any chance, would your boys be interested in coming?
Sure. Let me bring them right now.
Okay. I think we're excited to hear students come on and just talk about their school. And I think they're getting used to now too doing these, Zoom calls.
Seeing
Where-
people on the computer, talking to them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these are 2 moms. I thought it was a class.
No, we're just moms.
She mentioned bringing them on, because she has younger kids, and I was like, are you sure they're going to be okay coming on here? Like, yep. I'm excited to hear from them because, I don't see kids as often now that, with all this, Corona cooties, I just see my grandkids. So I love to hear what, students are feeling right now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is Ruben. He is in 3rd grade.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself?
My name's Ruben, and I'm in 3rd grade.
What school do you go to?
Out Texas.
And here goes Robin. Robin, can you introduce yourself as well?
Hi.
What's
Hi.
your name and where do you go to?
My name is Robin, and I go to Isle, Texas.
Oh, they're so adorable. Nice to meet you.
Hello,
Thank you.
boys. What is your favorite thing about school right now?
Well, what is my favorite thing about school right now?
I know we're springing questions on you. I
Like
do
the
all the
virtual
time.
option that you can
That
do.
we have breaks.
Yes, breaks
What's your
are
favorite
good.
subject?
Important.
My favorite subject is well, I like online classes.
You do?
You do?
Yeah.
Why do you like them?
Because I don't really, I I do like them because, wait, what time do we wake up for school?
At 7?
Oh, well, I just need to have to brush my teeth and then do my hair, and then I just go on my computer.
I know, it's so much easier, right?
A lot easier going to school now,
Very
huh?
honest answer.
I like it.
What do you like?
Mm,
They're talking to you.
Do you get to see your friends on the computer?
Yeah, Robin, do you
Yeah.
get to see your friends?
yeah.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Do you guys, are you still learning 3 languages, even on the computer?
Yep, ma'am.
Yep, ma'am, I like it. Cool. Ooh, can you guys say something in Chinese?
Bye.
Can you say bye in Chinese?
Um,
Or in another language?
Or in another language, or in Spanish?
it's freaking
Let's sing it in English and then Spanish and Chinese.
No.
That one would do. Good.
I know how to say adios.
1, 2.
See?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Wait, whose birthday is it?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Okay, now in Spanish. In Spanish.
Did you see his face?
Feliz cumpleaños.
Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti.
In Chinese. In Chinese.
He's like, let me think about that. Wow.
祝你生日快乐，生日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐。
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Great
Good
job.
job. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a high five through the computer. Can you give me a high five through the computer?
High
Good
five.
job.
Good job.
They didn't know what to say and I wasn't listening, but I was like, perhaps just do the happy birthday in 3 languages.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you sharing your boys with us. It's so nice to hear from kids.
Sorry for the honest answer of just waking up and going
No,
to class.
All I gotta do is brush my teeth and go.
Hey, for these, I know I have to wear a nice blouse and I can wear whatever. Like
Right.
pajamas on the bottom. It's totally fine. No one knows.
Pajama bottoms and a nice, my school shirt. I love that. We appreciate you coming on here and talking to us and then sharing your experiences,
My pleasure.
this spring and your boys. Keep in touch, and then I hope that y'all do great, and I know they will. Good luck this school year in the fall with the kids, and good luck to you and your husband. I know it's still a challenge.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you for this channel, for having this platform for other parents to identify to each other, to learn from each other, and to go through this journey together. I mean, it's not an easy adventure that we're going through, and talking about it, hearing other experiences really helps out. And I really hope that if there's any way I can help anyone, I'm available, and I appreciate also all the hard work that you guys are doing. Even Daniel, that is behind the scenes. Thank you for putting this together.
Our producer, yes, he's
Our
wonderful.
producer.
Thank you so much, Lily.
Have a great one.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Have a good one. So we're excited to also introduce another guest that's going to tell us more about, international leadership of Texas, but the virtual school. But one thing about this parent, she is a VIP because, she has a very important job being a mother of 2, a 13-year-old son and a 16-year-old daughter, and as well as wanting to be becoming an employee of ILT Texas. Now that's for the brick and mortar side of it, but she is so excited to tell us more about the virtual school. So I'm happy to introduce Nancy Salazar on our show.
Welcome, Nancy.
Hello, Nancy.
She's gonna unmute.
And she even has her ILT shirts just like the boy. Look at this.
Yes.
She's winning.
Can you guys hear me?
There we
Yes.
go.
Loud and clear.
It's interesting how every Zoom meeting, puts you in different ways. When I do webinars or if I'm doing a Zoom, it's different if I'm doing a Zoom in a webinar. So thank you though. Thank you for your patience of trying to figure it out.
Nancy, tell us a little bit about yourself for those of us that don't know about you and most important thing, your most important job being a mom.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My name is Nancy Salazar, and I am a parent of 2 students in Isle, Texas. I have a 16-year-old, soon to be 17, on Saturday, and a 13-year-old son. He's an 8th grader, and my daughter, 16-year-old, she's an 11th grader. And I actually started out with Isle, Texas as a parent because I was looking for an opportunity for my children to continue in their dual language schooling.
Mm-hmm.
They had started since kindergarten. And in my search with other parents who were also doing the same, I ventured just in the internet looking, and I found Isle, Texas in the Dallas area. And I remember talking to my husband about it, and he said, we're not really moving. I don't know why you want to visit. And I said, because I want to see the school. And I went out there with 2 friends of mine who also had their children in the dual language program in the area where I live. And we just fell in love with the building, the children, the program itself. And then it ended up being that they were also teaching Chinese to the students. So for me, it was a plus. That they were learning a 3rd language, because I really believe that when you open that in a child's mind at a younger age, then you allow them to have an opportunity to even venture even more. And my children were pretty open at learning that 3rd language, even though it's hard. It's a hard language for them.
Right.
It's easy, but I think it's just the way that the teachers teach it that really made them feel comfortable. And to this day, I really feel like they like the Chinese as much as they like learning in Spanish and in English. So it's been a journey. But when I was asked to be part of Isle, Texas, I really felt like it was the thing to do anyway, because I couldn't shut up about it. I was telling everybody about my children being in Isle, Texas. So I said yes. And so here I am. I work as a student recruiter for the Houston area. I'm one of 3 Houston and College Station area. So, I'm very happy to see how much it's grown and how my children have also just been able to grow, in their academics, but then also in the language piece, which is what I wanted to see with them.
That is awesome to hear.
Yes.
So I'm just curious to know what got you to actually look for another option for your kids? Because you mentioned you actually drove all the way to Dallas, and then you're like, this is what I want. But what was it that wanted you to look for another school option?
Like I said, my kids didn't know anything different. They had learned English and Spanish since kindergarten, because the blessing was that the district I'm in, they had the dual language program. But then in 5th grade, when my daughter was in 4th grade, I knew that they were talking about ending the program after 5th grade. So middle school and on, it wasn't going to continue. And I didn't want it to stop. I really wanted my daughter not just to understand it or speak it, but I wanted her to have, just the academic piece of Spanish. And so I thought, you know what, I had it growing up because I was raised in South America. And then, of course, we came back to the United States in the 7th grade with no English. So then I had to learn the English, but I wanted them to be able to communicate in the 2 languages appropriately. I wanted her, and my son to have an opportunity to, to speak it and understanding and read it and have the same opportunities I did in learning about literature and all these different, authors and just how beautiful the language itself is. And so that's why I started looking, and I knew that there were other districts near us who had the program that were starting to, to grow to middle school. So for the whole year, I did travel with my 6th grader then to a district near us, which was about, it took me about an hour going and coming. And I did that with a friend of mine who also did the same with her son. And we carpool. That's what we did for a whole year. So, you know, sincerely, I feel like I was kind of crazy. But I thought, you know what? I see the benefit. I see the benefit. And so to this day, I don't regret it. The fact that I continued on. And then when IL Texas was available here in the Houston area, I pulled both my kids, you know, away from their ISDs, for the public ISDs, and I put them into IL Texas.
That is awesome. And these are great stories to hear, because this is what parents do. They sacrifice a lot to have for their kids to have a better education.
Right. And being and talking with, you know, prospective parents and things, are parents shocked that this is a free to them, you know, public school with the environment that this school is, with the, you know, trilingual?
Yeah, it's trilingual, 3 languages.
You know, all those things. Are parents surprised that it's a free, you know, free to them charter school?
Well, as a parent myself, I can tell you, I grew up in South America, and I remember when I walked into the IL Texas schools, I saw the uniforms, and I actually had looked them up online, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with the uniform. It was the first thing, because I had private school with uniforms in South America. So yes, I mean, I was surprised that they were, you know, it was a free opportunity, free public charter school. And I just thought, wow, this is going to be pretty good for me. And I think at the time I thought, you know, they're not going to just come for my 2 kids. You know, IL Texas won't be able just to come for 2 kiddos, but if we extend this opportunity out and let other people know, then they will be able to, you know, to be part of it. And then IL Texas will come. I don't know. It was just a wishful thinking, or whatever you want to call it. But my husband made me laugh, because he said, you know, you just kind of just dove into it, and you just pushed and pushed and pushed. And I said, well, you know what? We were at the time writing letters already to the state and to the charter schools divisions about, you know, well, we started later to the charter school division, but we were writing to the state to continue this program in our ISD. And we had petitioned it to the board of the ISD that we were in, and it had not, you know, it wasn't going to happen. And so I think it was my drive. And I think when parents when I would talk to them about the school, they were like, and it's free. Yes, it's a free opportunity. And that's when it was kind of, but it's free, but how is it different? How is it the same? And that was the thing that, you know, I would tell parents, don't just listen to me, do your own research. And I provided links with my other parents who were also with me, just, you know, hours of the night, just sending links out between us and other parents, and just so that we could all get educated. And then started to go to the first meetings that IL Texas had here in the Houston area. And that's how it really became an opportunity where everybody was able to see that it was just another option, right? Another free public school option for their kiddos.
That is awesome to hear. And I think before we talk more a little bit about the virtual side of it, the virtual school itself, to ask you as a mom, you know, what options did you choose for your kids and why?
For this year, we're going through the pandemic. Yes. So at the end of last school year, so right after spring break, like Luli was saying, I was listening to Luli. I'm thinking, Luli knows everything. Like, she knows everything. We didn't have many options. We had to go virtually, and that's what we did. But IL Texas did really, like she was saying, a really good job in transitioning. And so this year, we actually were able to have 3 options for our students. We will start our 3rd option September 8th, and for Houston area. And every county is going to be different depending on, you know, the decision of that city. So one of our campuses, College Station, started August 13th already in person for those parents who wanted to do that. So that's option 3. The option 1 being virtual, where you go every day. There's a schedule, except on Wednesday, it's an independent study day, so kids don't actually have to stay all day with their teachers. And then the option 2 was the one available this year, which was for students that are not able to log in during the day, but that are able to, log in later when the parents are home, Or even my high school student, for instance, she is very independent. So she goes to the classes that she needs to go to, because that's another great thing about it. Like if you're an option 2 student, you're able to log into the option 1 classes virtually. And so she chooses, like for instance, the AP level classes that she's in. So she takes those classes virtually. And then the other classes, she's able to log into her Google Classroom, get her assignments and get them turned in. So it's really made it be for me as a parent to be able to have, okay, my son who's an 8th grader, he does option 1. And then my daughter does option 2. And the nice thing about it too, is that we're able to choose, say from here until 6 weeks from now, or the 5th week, they're actually asking, as a parent, you can change the option. If you want to say once in September 8th, it opens up for Houston area. If there's no changes in that, my kids, I could choose for them to go. Or they could stay online until the end of the school year. So that to me gives so much flexibility. And I work from home. And so for me, knowing that my son is virtually connecting with his teachers and he's able to see his friends online, and they do things where they put him into little rooms, just little rooms where they're talking about something, or the orchestra group is being split into 2 groups, or things like that. So it makes a difference, I think, for the students as well as for the parent to be able to have those choices.
Wow. So when it comes to the virtual school, what pushed ILT to say, okay, this is what we're going to do for Texas?
Well, I tell you, I'm not in the talks for all the higher ups, but I can tell you that I think just seeing the interest in Texas about IL Texas, I think it's where the mentality kind of opened up to, we're doing this virtually, it went well, and could we offer this opportunity for more students in the state of Texas? And I think personally, the way I see it, it could open a door for us to even be virtually around the globe. I mean, really, why not? It's a school that we are teaching children about other languages, about Spanish and Chinese, which are, and English, which are the languages where businesses are, the languages that are being used in the business world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's the reason why they decided, this is an opportunity that we can open up, because now we have the platform. We have the platform to be able to provide it. We have now all our students K through 12 have the Chromebooks, where it used to be 4th grade through 12 have Chromebooks, and then the K through 3rd had shared computers in the classroom that they would use. I think it was iPads. So now everybody has it. And so for our students who are in Texas and were interested, and I think Mr. Conger also had a lot of people from San Antonio and other cities that also asking, when are you coming to our city? So this one really made it be a possibility that it opened up for more students to be able to join IL Texas.
Yeah, I have thought TEA had made some changes
Yeah.
because of COVID, and looked to, these AB rated schools across our state, and saw who was doing an excellent job, and knew that IL Texas had done such a great job. And so I applaud TEA and our commissioner to make that choice, to open that door for this great school to be able to offer school through, K through 2 virtually, where again, in a teeny tiny town where maybe they don't have any kind of option other than the school down the street.
Right, their neighborhood school.
Their neighborhood school, that they could go to, to an AB rated school that may work for them better. Maybe, Spanish is what's spoken in their home, or who knows, Mandarin is what's spoken in their home. We're in America, and so those things happen. And so for that option to be able to be in these tiny towns, not just in Houston and Dallas, it gives goosebumps that so many more kids can do it. I reached out to IL Texas VS, or the virtual school, and they're up to close to 300 students so far. And
yeah, that's awesome.
So to go from, my kids utilized full-time virtual school starting almost 12 years ago. And we were one of the first 300 students in the state. And to see now an 8th school in our state open, and already have 300 students, and they've been open, I guess a week and a half.
August 13th. August 13th is when we started. Mhm.
Yeah, just so exciting as a parent to be able to see that happen.
Yes. Yes, it
I think
has.
it's great, not only offering it just, to like the Houston, Dallas, but the whole state of Texas. Especially like Shea was mentioning, these small towns that only have one option, which is their district traditional school down the road, is to have another option, especially when we get, like natural disasters like hurricanes and stuff, where the kids can still have an education and work and have a plan B to help these students. I think my question would be for the virtual school is, how is ILT, the virtual school, supporting students like with tools? Like Lily mentioned computers, but is there other tools that they're providing their students that choose the virtual school?
So in Isle, Texas, other than the Chromebooks, because that is something that now that we have the virtual school for Isle, Texas, other than the Chromebooks, there are students who obviously are going to be needing books. So if there's a student who is taking a college level class, like say they're doing a dual language track or an AP track, which is advanced placement, advanced academics, then they would need their textbooks. And so they will provide those books as well for those students. The other thing that I was also thinking, because I knew you were going to bring that up, is that also, I believe they're also providing headsets for students, because a lot of our families have more than one student in the home learning. Right. And so that's another thing that I believe they're providing. And, just any support that it's needed for their learning in regards to, textbooks, the Chromebook, it's what IL Texas is able to provide. The uniform right now, it wants their own campus, obviously, for those who are going into the buildings will be, enforced the way that we usually do it. But those who are virtually now, and those who will be in IL Texas virtual school, what they're asking them is to at least have the polo shirt to be able to be in class. I think it just decreases distraction, and it keeps students focused as well. And I was actually, I sit in an area where I can hear my son's class, and you hear the teacher, and sometimes if he doesn't have his headsets on. And this morning they did their pledges, and they talked about the discipline and what's expected in the classroom, and they talked about uniform expectation and behavior expectation and no phones, when they're in class. So, all those things that are happening in the classroom, it's happening virtually as well for these students. So that's what we have.
I'm also impressed by how much synchronous learning is happening with IL Texas virtual school and your regular IL Texas distance learning, option one, where I'm seeing the distance learning, for instance, in some of the schools. I live in Pflugerville, Texas, just north of Austin. And I'm hearing parents very frustrated that the synchronous learning is not happening as much as they would like to see, and even that, TEA is requiring, because they're struggling with that synchronous part. They're just kind of going, okay, do your asynchronous work with no instruction, and so I'm excited that, students who maybe they're distance learning right now with their school and it's not working, that they have this option with this virtual school that they can transition over. They didn't have to enroll before August 13th. They can enroll today, right?
Right. So we are currently still enrolling. Our virtual school is continuing to enroll at the K through 12. And our schools, our brick and mortar schools, are the same way. We are still enrolling students because we do have some openings in some grade levels. Our high school, we have two high schools in the Houston area and then one in College Station area. And then in Dallas, we have schools as well where we are, we're about 19 campuses total. So our schools are definitely continuing to enroll, and for their virtual school is what it's growing now. Like you said, we're over the 200 line of students that are being, they're finding out more about the school, and then they're also, interested in joining in the school. So that's true. We are continuing to enroll.
So now gonna ask a question for because I always ask every time I go visit a school, and this is like visiting a school. My next question is, how will ILT Texas, the virtual school, support students with special challenges?
Okay. So one of the things that I know we're doing in Isle, Texas, because we don't go to school on Wednesday. I mean, the students still show up in the morning, they do their pledges, and then the rest of the day is their own leadership time for the high school, and then the independent learning for the K through 8.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the times when counselors are available. Also, there's small groups available during the week as well, because their day has gotten shorter. So for instance, my understanding when I look at their schedule, they begin at 8 a.m. for kinder through second grade. So at the end of the day is when they have about a 45-minute block time where there's intervention. If intervention is needed, that's when they receive the support. Parents have an opportunity to also make appointments with with their teachers, with APs, and things like that, counselors. So those are some of the areas where also our families are being supported for that.
That's exciting. So since we're talking mostly Texas, I wanted to make sure people knew, their options, the rest of the options in Texas. We talked about it on our show a couple weeks ago, being, there are 7 other schools that offer full-time online that have been around a long time through the Texas Virtual School Network. So you would go to TEA's website, Texas Virtual School Network, to find those schools. All of those, because they're under the pre-existing rules right now, those go 3rd grade through 12th. And we're hoping, with seeing the great things that ILTVS is doing, that we can change some of those rules across the board to all of our schools.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to make sure and show one of our favorite resources from Andrew Campanella's group, National School Choice Week. I want to show you guys a map. So I'm going to share my screen, hopefully, right? Let's find it. Okay. No, of course, hold on. It's no, what are you seeing? Are you seeing my notes? Okay, what are you seeing? Are you seeing the map?
There's the map. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You never know what you guys are seeing, so okay. All right, here is, so National School Choice Week. I shout out to them as much as I can because they do a tremendous job. National School Choice Week, this is your online options across the country. So the green are the states that offer full-time online. Almost all of them are K through 2. Texas, ILTVS is the only one that I currently know of that is offering K through 2. The rest offer 3 and up. There may be some schools I just haven't heard of yet. I'm trying to, keep my ear to the ground and keep a listen out. The rest of the schools, the ones with the stars, y'all, those ones have like a part-time free options. So like Hawaii and Alaska, those do not offer full-time online at this point, but they do a really good job with National School Choice showing these options. So I just wanted to make sure if you're watching from another state, these options of full-time online schools are in almost every state for you. And if they're not in your state, I would say reach out to our organization, National Coalition for Public School Options. We're, a parent advocacy group that fights for the right for parents to have options within that realm. And we've been fighting the fight for the full-time virtual option for a long time. And so reach out to us. So anyway, check out National School Choice Week. I'll stop sharing. I just always want to plug Andrew's group because he's great and gives everybody really great.
No, it's great for our national viewers who are watching, who are not from the state of Texas, to know your options that are available to them. That's a great website to check out and then know what those options are. That's what I love about them, because they're national. They're not just statewide, they're national wide. I think it would be great too, like Nancy, you mentioned your 2 kids. You mentioned that your daughter is also a student at ILT Texas. Does she have a moment to kind of come on and tell us a little bit about her experience?
Yeah, I twisted her arm. She's right here. Let's see if we can get her, if I can get her in the camera with me.
Hi.
Hello.
And it's Isabella, right?
Yes.
Nice
Okay,
to meet
I'm in
you.
love with your uniform. Super
Thank
cute.
you.
I love yeah.
That is. And then of course she's the skirt is,
The skirt's maroon. It's plaid and maroon.
yes.
How fun. That's awesome.
So, yeah, she's an 11th grader at Katy West Park High School.
So Isabella, tell us about your experience being last spring as a student.
Last spring. So it, gosh, it came as such a shock. We were on vacation, and I remember like I had like a big group chat with like my friends, and they're like, "Hey, have you heard we're having like an extra week of spring break?" And I was like, "What? Like, there's no way." And then we come later to find out that COVID and the pandemic hit. And, you know, at first we're kind of like, oh, thank God, we don't have to go back. We get to be at home, you know. But then I think as we got closer to the end of the school year, we really did miss the, like, interaction with our teachers and, like, just our friends and stuff. And even starting this year, it was like, we were like, oh, my God, we miss school. And I know, like, most kids don't, like, ever say that, especially in high school. But I feel like through this pandemic, as a student, I realized how important it is to like value school and just like how important it is to be in school and the interaction that a student can have with a teacher.
That is awesome to hear. And so how are you feeling this fall? Now it's a little bit different. How are you feeling about it this school year?
This school year, well, it's good that IELTS Texas made it so easy to transition into virtual school that it wasn't so much of a shock when we started this year. I'm feeling just hopeful. Of course, I would love to go back to school, but it is definitely like our health first. So if I have to stay online for the rest of the year, then I feel like with IELTS Texas, their system is so prepared and good that as a student, it wasn't really that troublesome at all. And being an option 2 has definitely been like such like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because then I don't have to go to every single class. I can just go to the classes. Like I go to all my AP classes and I can listen to lectures, but then like other classes that I don't need that much help in or need that in person with the teacher, I can just do the work on my own and turn it in.
So creative. I love how creative the school has been with that second option. So great. I hope if nothing else, if other schools are listening, you need to go reach out to IELTS Texas and say, how are you doing that? Because that's amazing that you're able to do that. I can feel the positivity coming from you, where I'm seeing, I have a 17-year-old and all of his friends are frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, where I don't feel that coming
You
up.
don't see or feel that with you,
Right.
Isabella. We can tell with the smile on your face. I think one last question to ask you, Isabella, is what tip would you have for a student going into this fall?
Like to IELTS Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say be open-minded about the languages. And because our schedule is longer, because we are learning Spanish and Mandarin, I know that going in at first I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel about that, the longer schedule, it's a whole new language. But my advice would be just to go in with an open mind and really just see it as like a benefit, and it's going to benefit like the student in the future, you know, because speaking 3 languages, not many people can say that they speak more than 1 language. So it's definitely a benefit, and just to keep an open mind to it.
Yeah, not in our country. Now, if you go to Europe, yes.
For sure.
You have a leg up on most of us. That is for sure.
Well, we want to thank you, Isabella and Nancy, for coming in our show and, you know, just seeing the smiles on your faces and the positivity. I mean, I see that both of you are very happy with being in ILT Texas as well. Nancy, sharing about ILT, the virtual school. I know a lot of parents are probably getting excited. This is wonderful information for parents across Texas. Anybody that's watching, if you do want to learn about them, we did put in the comments field how to apply. if you're interested in your students enrolling to the virtual school, as well as if you're a teacher or looking for career opportunity. They are hiring as well. So this is a great opportunity for teachers. I'm going to plug the teachers in as well.
Right. And every single virtual school right now is hiring. I've reached out to all of them. All of them are growing. All of them are hiring. And so if your school situation is not exactly what you're wanting it to be for your employment, there are these wonderful opportunities, not just for students, but for teachers. That's exciting.
It is exciting to hear that. And again, thank you ladies for coming in on the show. If you want to get a hold of Nancy, we will have her contact information in the comment field where you can get a hold of her if you want more information, and also with the ILT virtual school as well. She's happy to answer any questions to that friend there. And we also want to thank the National Parents Union for hosting our show. We're very blessed for them to let us reach out to parents, you know, not just in Texas, but nationwide. If you want more information about National Parents Union, we will have that information on our comments field. It is on the top, or it's info@nationalparentunion.org, as well as reaching me or Shea with any contact information, whether joining our show, you have a question, or there's a topic you want to talk about. We are happy to, you know, connect with everybody on, you know, topics. And then make sure to connect with us on Thursday. We're going to have a special guest. We're so excited. As we were talking about ILT Texas and the changes that Texas Education Agency did here in Texas, we're going to deep dive in that with Emily Sass. She is from the Texas Public Policy Foundation. We're going to learn about the attendance and enrollment policies for this school year that affects parents like you and me and Shea and Nancy.
How does it work? How does it work for the school year? There's some changes, y'all.
There's some changes that we need to, you know, we're going to talk about. So again, until then, stay safe, stay healthy, sending good spirits to everybody. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for watching My Child, My Voice Parent Connection.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.